Hello, beautiful children. It is amazing to see you in my mind's eye again. This is the second video for this week. This one is on the Parsha. Are we ready? I've got my t-shirt on. Rolling back the time. And one more. Rolling back the time. And one more. Rolling back the time. And thinking and thinking and thinking. This week's Parsha is the Parsha called Balak, which is in the fourth book of the Torah, called Bamidbar, because it was everything that was happening to the Bnei Israel in the desert. Who was Balak? Well, he was a king. He was the king of Moab, but he was actually, SPS, some people say, aka also known as Midrash, they explain that he was a Midianite prince. He was wise, he was clever, and he was looking for Bnei Israel's strength. SPS, some people say, aka also known as the Midrash, that the Moabite king Balak is watching the Israelites, and he actually says in the Torah, they're like an ox that are going to lick all my greenery, they're going to come in and throw us out. Although that wasn't what the Bnei Israel were going to do at that point, but Balak was very worried about the Bnei Israel in his land. And so he sent wise men, he sent some men to Yitro's house in Midian, where Moshe had spent many years with Tzipporah before he came back to take the Bnei Israel out of Egypt. And he said, what's the secret to Moshe's success? And they said, well, that's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Moshe uses the name of Hashem in battle. They believe in Hashem. So Balak thought, well, if this Hashem gets cross with the Bnei Israel, then we'll win. So let's just make Hashem, their God, cross with Bnei Israel. And what did he do? He joined forces with the Midianite, all the Midianite princes. And he said, let's join together and we can get rid of this Bnei Israel. Then we won't need to worry about them. And so he found a magician called Bilam. Not like the magicians with perfect party people and magicians that come for your birthdays, which are perfectly okay. This magician was a bit of a naughty one. He was also a prophet. He could see in the future, but in bad ways. He was a magician and he had superpowers, but bad superpowers, superhuman powers. So along came the greatest bad magician, dream interpreter and prophet Bilam, and he joined forces with Balak. And Balak sent him lots of magic presents and a group of noblemen, and he promised him all sorts of things. But Bilam says, stay the night, I'll listen to what Hashem says, because Hashem would tell Bilam what to do. And of course, Hashem said, absolutely not. You cannot go and say horrible things about the Jewish nation so that I would punish them. But Bilam says, well, I can't do it. And Balak thinks, maybe I need to send more money and more noblemen and maybe higher up noblemen. So Balak continues to send more and more important people to Bilam. And Bilam says, stay the night again. And in the night, Hashem says, fine. It's not fine that you want to curse the Bnei Israel. You may not say anything bad about them, but if you want to go, you will say whatever I will tell you to say. And on that condition, Bilam joins up with Balak, and Bilam tells Balak to go and get a bull, and go and get a ram, and go to these different mountain tops where he can see that Bnei Israel will do bad, or bad things will happen, and is hoping that if he gets that moment in the day that he thinks that Hashem is punishing people, punishing the Bnei Israel and angry with them, then he can get the Bnei Israel to be destroyed and they won't be a problem in their lands. So that's exactly what he does. And Bilam has woken up early to saddle his donkey. That's the very important bit. Now, was it a horse? No. Was it an elephant? No. I gave the answer just now by mistake. Was it a zebra? No. Did he saddle a badger? No. Did he saddle a dinosaur? No. My story is not in chronological order because we know that he's already still defiant and gone together with the king of Balak. But what was the animal that he saddled before he did all of that? Is it the monkey? No, he saddled a she-donkey. No, a she-donkey. And the she-donkey was able to see an angel of Hashem standing in the way with the sword. And so she had to veer off the road and into a field because she could see the angel. And Bilam, who was such a very, very important magician, couldn't see the angel at all. But the little donkey, who was pure and had a good heart, could see the angel of Hashem. So she goes into a field. And Bilam does something terrible. He hits the donkey. We must never, never, ever hurt animals. And the angel moves again and the donkey continues. And then the angel appears on a narrow path with fences either side in a vineyard. There's nowhere for the donkey to go into a field because there's fences. So the donkey chooses one side of the fence, a wall, and crushes Bilam's leg to try and escape from the angel. And Bilam hits that donkey again and again and again. Terrible. We must never hurt an animal. And then finally, the angel appears where there is nowhere for this donkey to escape. And so Bilam ends up being crushed by her. And at that point, Bilam gets very angry and hits her and hits her and hits her and hits her and hits her. So Bilam has hit her 3 times to try and obey him. And he's going to be left with egg on his face because the angel watches as the donkey opens her mouth. And instead of baying, she talks. Why have you hit me 3 times? Now, children, if the donkey spoke to me, I don't know that I'd be able to answer back that quickly. But Bilam, who is also a narcissist, only cares about himself, I would have killed you. The donkey's just spoken to you, Bilam. Don't you think that's a wake-up call? So Hashem opens the eyes of Bilam and he can see the angel standing in front with the sword. And the angel says, if not for this donkey, I would have actually killed you. Bilam then says, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't think he means it. And the angel says, fine, you want to go ahead and try and curse, say horrible things about Bnei Israel. Again, just as Hashem has warned you, you will say whatever Hashem puts in your mouth. And so we are back on these mountaintops with Balak and his men offering bulls and rams as presents to Hashem. And they try one mountaintop called Baal, where the Bnei Israel are going to sin. They are going to do naughty things. Doesn't work. They try another one, Har Nevo, where Moshe is going to die. Doesn't work. Bilam is going to lose his prophecy. So first, here we go. That's Bilam with the donkey and the sword. So we know that Moab and Midian join forces to fight Bnei Israel. Balak is the new Midianite king, and he hires the magician Bilam from Pethor. Then they go to Pethor to try and get the Bnei Israel to sin, to curse the Israelites. But an angel blocks the way, and his donkey veers off the road, edges over to the wall, crushes Bilam's foot, ends up under Bilam, and the donkey speaks to Bilam when hit. But Bilam is unable to say anything bad. All of the bad things he intends to say, all of the anger that he hopes that Hashem will have for the Bnei Israel does not work. Instead of cursing the Bnei Israel, Bilam ends up blessing them. He compares the Avot, the forefathers, to rocks, and the Imahot, the foremothers, to hills with their good deeds. There is no perversity. There is nothing icky and yucky about the Israelites. They are pure. They are good. Hashem will forgive them even when they do wrong. And they don't have all these magic tricks. Bilam praises the tents. Ma tovu halecha Yaakov mishkanotecha Yisrael. We don't sing that anymore in my children's service because I'm cutting down the amount of singing because I don't like singing without you. But hopefully we will start singing all those songs again when we're back together and we're given the all clear to do so. No two tents look into each other. There is no immorality. There is no indecency. The Bnei Israel are so respectful of each other. And the fourth and final blessing mentions a star shooting out of Yaakov, meaning King David, and in the future, the Mashiach. Balak is very cross with Bilam. If you can't curse them, then just be quiet. Why do you have to bless them? Bilam warns him, and Bilam limps away, and Balak is going to, SPS some people say, okay, also known as the Midrash, Balak is going to lose his title as a king, but it's not quite finished yet. Balak and Bilam have this idea of getting the Midianite fairy princesses to have parties to feed their idols, the Baal Peor idols. It's my party and I'll give food to my idols if I want to. B'nai Israel, do you want to join in too? No, don't join in, B'nai Israel. But unfortunately, a lot of the Israelites join in the parties with the Midianite fairy girls, and they worship Baal Peor, and Hashem gets very angry, and there are 24,000 people punished at the end of this week's parsha. And only one man can save the Bnei Israel, and his name is Pinchas, and he is the son of Aaron, and he is the Kohen, and he saves the day because Moshe doesn't know what to do, interestingly enough. And the name of the very, 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 very naughty man who says, yes, I am going to also marry Cosby, the daughter of Balak. I'm going to do that. But not without her wanting to have a Jewish way of life or converting. You can't do that. So Pinchas had to get rid of him. And we're going to know the name of Zimri only next week. It's not mentioned till next week, but I'm telling you already. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zevulun, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Yosef, and Binyamin. These are the 12 Shevatim. And Zimri was a very important guy of Shimon. They lost a lot of people over this. Listen to your mummies and daddies and do what they say. Listen to your mummies and daddies. Please don't forget to pray. Listen to your mummies and daddies. The rabbis lead the way. Then they will be happy. Hope you've enjoyed the second video. Lots this week. And see you again very soon.